you brought up some great information there about the campaign themes you're pushing for, the policies you're pushing for. I know that some of the most high profile leftist politicians who've run on those sorts of themes responded to this criticism with, like Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was saying that everyone who endorsed, Medicare for all won re-election, saying that she had tried to coach some of these other people on how to advertise online and do those sorts of things and had been rebuffed by many of them. There seems to be this unwillingness on the part of some of these centrists and the longer term Congress people have been around for a while to understand why that wins, but also to even take the help when it's offered, which seems ill-placed, I would say. What do you think about some of the pushback from people like Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Ilhan Omar to this initial attempt to frame what happened in that election?
Well, I mean, folks like Rashida Tlaib, Representative Ilhan Omar, they are also part of the sort of representing the movement, the activist base that sent them to Congress, that are working with their constituents to deliver, again, key victories in places like Minneapolis, in places like Detroit, where I'm sure when all said is done, when we analyze the data, they are helping us win in those places. So to take leadership from them on what is working on the ground, what is working in their communities, to have that dictate what in some way the future of the Democratic Party is, as opposed to just listening for the direction of Representative Abigail Spanberger, Kana Lamb, who are saying in interviews that, why try? The Democratic Party can't stand for anything, and that's just not a message that is going to work. We know that these attacks are coming, and instead of cowering away from the very folks that are, again, stepping up in support of trying to defend Black lives when there is impunity by police officers, or a socialism argument that has just been around for generations, it's time for the Democratic Party to take a stand. Let's go on the offensive. Let's call out the GOP, Donald Trump, for the divide and conquer tactics that they're displaying for all of the American people, and focus on, folks like Jeff Bezos, corporations that are robbing America, that are robbing working families blind in the middle of the pandemic, and working with, folks like Mitch McConnell and Congress, instead of some of the other things, in addition to blaming us, are talking about things like working with Mitch McConnell, or that's going to be a possibility when it's been years since we've been able to get anything done. And in the midst of a global pandemic, to expect that anything is going to be different is just ridiculous.
Well, we're gonna turn to that in just a second. Before that, though, I did want to congratulate both you and the organization Justice Democrats for your big wins. There were some significant ones. People are now nationally getting to know people like Jamaal Bowman and Cori Bush. Some Republican leaders are starting to know who Cori Bush is, because they apparently think she's Breonna Taylor for some reason, which just horrifies me to hear. But what do you think about this new class of Congress people coming out of Justice Democrats? What effect do you think they're gonna have going forward?
Well, I mean, I am just, like I'm sure so many people, so excited to see Cori Bush, Jamaal Bowman, Marie Newman getting sworn into Congress, some Justice Democrats come January. It is after many, many months of hard work, I'm sure, from many folks watching this, small dollars, volunteer hours. So I hope for all of you, we all can feel so proud to have sent some of the few rays of hope. and obviously Joe Biden defeating Donald Trump, but in terms of new members to Congress, that we've sent some pretty cool people there together. But I think they're gonna have a seismic impact. I think if they weren't there, we can see what the conversation might lead to. It is critical that we continue to work with the Biden and Harris administration to make sure that we follow through on the mandate that the American people sent him, which was to govern like the majority that's been given. And I think what that means, especially right now, is delivering on COVID-19 relief for prioritizing working families, and not continuing to bail out corporations, or say that there's not enough for families and businesses that really need it right now. And also push for everything we can possibly do from climate change to immigration, but especially climate. So we actually teamed up with the Sunrise Movement to launch our climate mandate, which I think you were mentioning that we were going to get to in just a little bit.
Exactly. Well, why don't we start talking about that? Because Joe Biden is apparently going to be president, assuming American democracy continues. We're stay tuned. everybody. But he's won, and in the past, just about 2 weeks, he's put out a little bit of information about what he's going to do on climate, a little bit of information about what he's doing on COVID. We've got the choice of Ron Klain as his chief of staff. So as you've been watching so far with the signals he's put out, and I know, organizations like the Justice Democrats and Sunrise Movement have their wish list of cabinet positions, the vast majority of which I think would be absolutely awesome. What do you think so far about the signals that have been given by Joe Biden and his team? And what are you going to be watching for to see how seriously they seem to be taking these issues that are at the core of Justice Democrats' political philosophy?
I mean, I think it's been mixed, but I think given the state of, as you pointed out, where our democracy is right now, it's been really encouraging to see Ron Klain, someone that has, sent good signals to progressives about working with us to address, to implement solutions that try to meet this moment, that bring us forward as opposed to backwards from where we are right now. I think that we've, put out this climate mandate to be able to, obviously, highlight some of our favorites like Deb Haaland for Secretary of Interior, and as well as a number of other cabinet positions. But we've also listed out multiple options in a good faith effort to do what we agreed to in the Biden-Sanders Unity Task Forces as a movement, right, where we had representatives like Varshini Prakash and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez come to an agreement on other things that we included in the climate mandate, like the Office of Climate Mobilization, which is going to be critically important and actually doesn't even need Senate approval to get started on, orchestrating the massive effort that it's going to take, right, to solve this existential threat facing our country, and also that's going to affect every fabric of our society and economy. But we know that if we want to actually take serious about building the 21st century economy and society that we know we're going to have to prepare for impending things like climate change, we're going to have to address it in the Office of Climate Mobilization, as well as appointing key progressive leaders that are strong on climate, that reject fossil fuel executive money and things like that are in the administration. And again, we have our favorites, but we also left several options so that way the Biden-Harris administration can meet progressives, where they're at. So we're really excited about those two things. But I think, again, critically, making sure that we are using this mandate that the American people have sent folks like Joe Biden that we haven't seen in generations, right, since the last time FDR was elected, to make sure that we're not just co-governing with Mitch McConnell, who has completely dragged his feet. And again, we're worried about 2022 midterm depressing turnout if we give any some of these sort of victories to Mitch McConnell. That I think he's looking for Democrats to take the poison pill.
Yeah. Or in theory, spend the next 2 years trying to work with Mitch McConnell to no avail, the pandemic not really being addressed because of that, the economy not really being improved, and people rightfully blaming the people who are now in charge for not getting anything done. You mentioned you have some preferences for the cabinet. We also are getting signals from people like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren that they're interested potentially in serving the cabinet. If they were to be blocked from that, if Joe Biden didn't put one or both in, would that be a strong signal to you that perhaps he would prefer to keep progressives a little bit at arm's reach on this whole path going forward?
Well, I mean, for both of those positions, we've listed several options. I think progressive leadership in this White House moving forward is going to be critical, despite where these leaders come from. But there are options besides those folks. But I think what's important is that we see some effort, right, from the Joe Biden administration. Like I said, it was very promising to see Ron Klain being appointed as chief of staff, and so we're hoping to see more to follow suit. But I think the Treasury Secretary, someone who is going to be in charge of our economy, is where progressives should be looking towards, right, when we're thinking about every single issue, whether it's rising income inequality or the direction of federal resources or how we're going to address this pandemic. Having someone like Senator Elizabeth Warren, who has been built for I think this moment, is going to be absolutely critical.
Okay. Well, very excited to keep the conversation going forward with you as we see what sort of Biden administration we're going to have, what the relationship between them and the left is going to be. But I'm sure you're very busy. You probably got to start finding candidates for the midterms. So as always, Alexandria Rojas, we really appreciate not only you joining us on the show, but everything that you do day to day. You and your organization are absolutely awesome.
Thanks so much.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.